Good morning, everyone. Today is Sunday, June 8th, and today is Group A guesstimate time, where we basically go through the funds that are held on the YieldMax Group A. They're scheduled to pay this week, so we're just going to give it a guess and see what we think they're going to pay, and then we'll go over a few more things, and then we'll do some Q&A at the end. Why not, right? So thank you all for who are in the live stream, and thank you for confirming the sound. um, Follow up from last week's video real quick. I did shoot for 15,000 views and 1,500 likes. I got the likes. I got 1,600 likes, which is awesome. Thank you very much, guys. But I fell short of the views by about 1,000. I had 14,071 views. So pretty damn close and pretty damn awesome. So again, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for clicking like. I'm not going to post goals for Group A like that because Group D is special, right? They're a monster of its own. So if anything, I would say 10,000 views and 1,000 likes for this video. So that being said, if you enjoy this content, if you enjoy this channel in general, please hit the like button. It does go a long way. All right, now for the fun. So YieldMax website. All right, so where do you find out about the distributions? Well, if you go under the top drop down for education, it states distribution schedules. If you click that, this screen pops up, right? And then it shows, okay, the schedule for the target 12 ETFs. We don't care about those. But then it goes right here to the weekly payers and then Group A, B, C, D. So Group A, we said, declares this week. So we have to go all the way down to whatever this week is. Here it is, weekly payers and Group A. They declare on June 11th, which will be the Wednesday. Their ex-dividend date is June 12th, which is the Thursday, and pay date is June 13th, which is the Friday. So if you wanted to own these funds and qualify for this next upcoming distribution, you would have to own it by June 11th and hold it until June 12th. If you sold it on June 12th, you still qualify, right? But again, keep in mind, on June 12th, ex-dividend date, the fund will drop by the amount of the distribution, plus or minus movement in the underlying, all right? Hopefully that makes sense. And if we go all the way down, you can see who's in what group. Someone told me, and I'll be sipping my coffee as we go here. Someone did mention Berk C, the newer fund, is in Group A. I don't see it here, so I'm not putting it on my sheet yet. Also, it's getting a little crowded in Group A, so I'm wondering why they did that. I know they have FEAT and FIVY, which they're kind of like an outcast in this whole thing. But anyway, that's what I'm told. Hoi's in Group C. They're the newest one that's listed here. And yeah, and by the way, Hui, I did check, just FYI, when we go over YMAX, they're not in there yet, right? I did pull up the holdings. I actually have it up here if you guys are curious. If we go to Hui, right, you see it? It's in alphabetical order. So G to J, right? Nothing there. So Hui's not in YMAX as of yet. It's all good though, right? It's all good. All right, let's close out of that. And let's get to the spreadsheet. So as mentioned, let's talk about Group A. All right, what do we want in the picture here? All right, we got last three payments and we got gains per share all in one picture. If you guys, this is the typical Zoom that I've been using. So let me know if you can't see it or let me know if it's good. Either way. And oh, look at the IV. IV's not updating, so I guess I got to refresh. See, I hit refresh and it gets rid of my Zoom. Isn't that great? All right, let's try this again. Here we go. Get 3 payments in and the gains per share. Okay, everything's good. All right, good. All right, let's start with TSLY. And I know someone mentioned the last time, they're like, just so you know, they could calculate what the payment is looking at column BA. I'm like, if they'd rather do that than fast forward through the video, I mean, good for them, right? I give them credit for even, wasting the time. But that's why I'm not going to block out everything. It's just too much stuff. All right. Thank you, ripping silk for confirming. Again, because people watch these videos on the phone, on the laptop, or on a TV even. So I know it kind of, it's different for everyone, but I just want to make sure that it's, and by the way, I still haven't figured out this closed caption thing. So if anyone knows what to do with that, let me know. It shows that it's on, but someone said it's not coming up, and I don't know. All right, so let's get going here. TSLY, their last two payments, 65 cents and then 76 cents. All right, gains per share, price-wise, negative. All right, so that doesn't help. But if we go to our handy dandy file that we're used to, we go to the group's value tab and we go to TSLY. They actually made $194 million, which is awesome, right? It's $1.53 per share, right? If you share it with all these 126,000 degenerates or TSLY tribe members, comes to $1.53, all right? Which would be an amazing payment, but let's get real, guys. That is not happening. And again, I'm looking at my yield. I'm like, really? That seems too high. But I did give them an 82-cent guesstimate, which, yeah, it would result in a 132% yield. That does seem high, doesn't it? Now that I'm looking at this, I don't know, man. Okay, back video wasn't working for me. Had to refresh. Oh, okay. 4:30 a.m. where Robert is. Thank you for getting up, Robert. Did you get up for this video? If you did, I appreciate that. That's awesome. But anyway, 82 cents. I don't know. I don't know if I could do that because they did good last time. They paid 76. Could they pay more? Sure. I feel like the yield should be in the 120s. That's why the only reason I'm hesitating. You know what I mean? Okay. You know what? I'm going to put it back in the 70s. Sorry, guys. 78 cents. That sounds that's better because it's kind of in line with the last payment and it still gives over 100% yield. I think 130% is a little much, to be honest. So, all right, I'm going with 78 cents. Final answer. All right, OARK is next. Their last two were 29 cents and 31 cents. Their IV. Oh yeah, by the way, Tesla's IV is 66%, but that doesn't matter because they made a crap load of money. OARK's or ARK's IV is 48%. If we look to see, did they make money? Yeah, they did. They made about $8.4 million, which comes to about $1.02 per share, which is that's good, man. That's really good actually, compared to what look what they paid last time, 31 cents. So what are we going to give them? I don't know. Again, another tough one. It's not easy when they make a profit like that, but I'm giving them more than the last payment. That's for sure. I don't want to give them 100% yield, but I would not be surprised if it ended up there. But yeah, we got some notes here real quick. I just want to, someone said something about Berk C. Yeah, will be group A. All right. Did that say that in the email, I guess? Yeah, I don't see it on their website, so I'm not adding it until I see it. Yeah, Wolf would rather the 82 cents. Yeah, I know, man. It just doesn't look right, right? I don't know. It just didn't look right. Yeah, I don't have steel. I don't track. I only have that on Misty. I mean, I have total. I could do like total for a certain period. But maybe at the end, you're gonna have to remind me to look at certain things. But then I got to calculate all the distributions, so I can really only do like total income over a certain period of time. All right. Anyway, so OARK, we're going with 44 cents. Again, even that looks steep, but I'm leaving it 44 cents, 69% yield. All right. Up next is GUI. Their last two payments, 37 cents, 34 cents. Their IV is 26%. So if we go to the group's value tab, they did not produce income. In fact, they had a loss. They lost of 4.9 mil. So again, when it's like that, we got to default to the IV. And do we think they're going to pay the IV? Yeah, IV's been dropping. So I'm trying to keep that in mind. I don't know if it's been dropping on every single fund, but I'm just going to assume that's the case, right? So since their IV is 26%, I decided to give them a 32% yield, which would be 31 cents, which is a tad lower than the last payment. So I think this is fair and reasonable. All right. Again, I'm checking the chat as we go, but we'll go from there. Yeah, email sent. Yeah. Thank you. I'll add it next time. All right, Zomo, how you doing? Well, your last two payments were 35 cents and 39 cents. Okay, great, wonderful. Did you make money though? That's the question. Oh yeah, we made 122,000. However, we have 4 million outstanding shares, so that's 3 cents per share. So that's not much to shell out. So let's see what we gave them here. We gave them a 36% payment, which is a 3-cent drop from the prior distribution, and it is a 37% yield. Their IV is 22%. To be honest, I'm looking at this now, maybe a little steep, right? Why would I give them 37% yield when I gave GUI 32? Maybe because they made a little money, right? But still, again, second guessing myself. Sometimes things look different once you take a second look at it. 33 cents. All right, I'm going to go with 33 cents, and that is a 34% yield for Zomo. All right. Hopefully everyone can hear me pretty well as well, because I'm kind of talking low, but I'm not because my son's still asleep. All right. YBIT is next. They did not make a profit, so those numbers are useless. So we will go over here. Again, we haven't really been looking at gains per share, but it's kind of useless in a way, right? We really just, what matters is how much, actual recognized, realized income that they did make. But they did go up 10 cents for what it's worth. Their IV is 40%. So what did I give them? I don't know. Let's see. I gave them 45 cents. Oof, yeah, that's a tough one, man, because look at the last two payments. Big difference, 41 cents all the way up to 86 cents. So what are they going to pay? Are they going to pay 45 cents? I have them at 45 cents, and that is a 55% yield. Yeah, I'm going to leave it. Are they going to pay that? Who the hell knows, to be honest, but that is our guesstimate. You guys can let me know in the live chat what you guys think about this. By the way, we're only at 180. The over under today of people joining the live was 250. So far, we are way under. I don't know. We're going to get there. We shall see. All right. So up next, your boy Snowy. Hi, Snowy. All right. 68 cents and $1.30. I mean, what the hell is that? Big freaking gap there. So let's see what they made. They made $8.2 million, which comes to $2.23 per share. I mean, bank, brah. If that's not bank, brah, I don't know what is. All right. Now, if we go over here, yeah, they did go up $2.40 per share. Okay, that strengthens the position as well. Their IV though, look at that. That's horrible. 30%. Man, that's some weak sauce. What did I give them? I have no idea. Again, I do these like the day before. Well, actually, no, did I do these? I did some of these this morning. Anyway, I give them I wanted to give them 100% yield. I didn't want to give them too much though. So I put them just over the 100%. I gave them 101% yield, which would come to be $1.38 per share. And that's a raise. That's a raise from the last one. So I still think this is a very impressive payment. And I could be giving it too high. I don't know. But we saw what they made. So again, this would not be surprising to see. So I think someone has Jeff wanted 150. Sorry, Jeff. I got you right under. Hopefully 138 will do. 82 cents is too. Oh, I assume you're talking about TSLY. Yeah, that's why we lowered it. All right, up next, your boy TSMY or TSMY. They did not make any type of profit. They had a loss. So we will jump back over here and we could see, okay, ETF price did go up 87 cents per share. Again, if you're wondering what am I talking about here, I'm showing the price as of the last ex-dividend date all the way up to the price on the last closing day, last trading day, which was Friday. And I'm just showing like how much did it go up? You know, out of curiosity, how much did the ETF price go up, right? Which should kind of correlate to how much they made. But again, there's a lot of money sometimes left on the table on paper that's in the fund, or a lot of losses also in the fund. So it could be either way. But it's just another good indicator to get an idea, you know, of what's to come, right? So if we see like TSMY, if this said like $2 increase, right, and we go to the group's value and they lost money, obviously that's a lot of gains on paper that they did not realize, which would probably hit the next, you know, the next payment. But well, who knows? Who knows? All right. Anyway, let's get back to business here. Implied volatility on TSM is 31%. All right. So what did I give them? I gave them a decrease of 20 cents from the last payment, which would be a 46% yield, which is above the IV. So I think this is reasonable, you know, in comparison to that. So, and we'll see, man. We shall see. I don't freaking know. All right, crash. No, they didn't make bank, bro. They didn't make anything. And their last two payments, 56 cents, and then it dropped to 31 cents. So what are they paying? I don't know. I have 32 cents. I figured they'll just be in line with the last payment. Oh my God, look at the price of crash, $5.19. Do not short Tesla. No way. No. But anyway, yeah, 32 cents, 80. That's still an 80% yield. So this may be too high. They may be paying the 20-cent range, but who knows, man. All right, FEAT and FIVY are up next, and I got to be honest, I suck at guessing these. So you may not want to even remotely consider what the heck I'm guessing here. But if you're new to, you know, the channel or YieldMax, FEAT, what are they? I mean, they pretty much hold, what is it, 5 of the funds for the, what the heck's that guy's name? I don't know, some nerdy guy. He picks the best 5 stocks that he says, and you know, or he ranks the stocks, and they pick the top 5 at least that they're trading on. So they add those 5 covered call ETFs at that very time. I'm not sure how often the reallocation happens, but as of right now, they're holding FIVY, JPMO, Nefly, and YBIT. So if I own FEAT, would I be happy with this allocation? It could be better, that's for sure. But it's a rather safe allocation, I would say. Their average implied volatility is showing to be 27%. So based on that, assuming they can yield that, Dorsey Wright, that's it. Thank you, Biggest Woody. Love the name. Yeah, sorry, Dorsey Wright. Didn't want to offend him, right? But if they average to be a 27% yield, maybe that's what they're going to yield. Maybe that's what they're going to pay, right? So we took that and we multiplied that by the price of FEAT and divided by 13 payments, because again, they pay 13 times a year, and that comes to about 79 cents. All right. So if I go over here, is that what I gave them? I don't even know. No, definitely not. Because look at the last payment. See, this is why like that formula doesn't really work. So the last 2 payments were, it was 164 and then 144. So again, I have no idea. So I'm not giving them under $1 after looking at these last 2 payments. So I'm going to give them $1.18. $1.18 is still a 41% yield. All right. So that's very respectable, I think. I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys let me know in the comments. I don't follow these enough. Nor do I care enough to see, like, to do any additional effort, right? I can only do what I can do with the whatever I'm pulling at the moment. All right, up next is FIVY. They're kind of like the hybrid, you know, same thing. They're holding those same 5 covered call ETFs, but the difference on this one is they also hold the underlying, so it allows for more upside potential, or downside, right? But anyway, so obviously they actually own Apple, right? They own Bitto, they own freaking Netflix, you know, Meta, all that. So what I do is I take the IV of those stocks, I get the average, and the average IV is 20. Well, see, this shows 24. This had 27 because one of the formulas is not updating here, but I don't really care. So you take that, you multiply the 24% times the price of FIVY, divide by 13, you get 75 cents. But then what you do is you take what percent holding they have of the covered call ETF, which is 55%, right? 55% is what they hold in covered call ETFs. And then, so you multiply the 75 cents by the 55%, you get 42 cents. And again, looking at the last two payments, you got $1.02 and then you got 97 cents. So I can't give them that payment, 42 cents. I mean, no way. So I did give them a multiplier. I give both of these a multiplier of 150%, and that came to 62 cents. Again, it looks like I'm really, really lowballing this, but that comes to a 20% yield, which would be half, right? About half of the yield that FEAT got, which to me makes sense. Again, this makes sense to me, but what the hell do I know? All right, so that's my estimate on FEAT and FIVY. Moving along. We could talk about Group D, what they paid, but let's get to the weeklies first. All right, let me take a sip of water. We have 194 live. By the way, I already went for my run, got that over with, showered, I'm set. So no rush here. All right, so I'm just checking the chat real quick. What do we got? People have become angry and impolite. What people? And good morning, John. All right, let's go here. All right, YieldMax. What are they paying? Again, who the hell knows? If we look, last time they paid 17 cents. All right, let's look at the last three, actually. Last three, 18 cents, 21 cents, and 17 cents. This time, I'm going to give them a 21 cents. That is that's higher than the norm. But again, they're what are they pulling from, right? They're going, if you look, I'm pulling BJ47. So if I go to BJ over here, and then I go to 47, right? It's pulling Group D because Group D paid last week. So what they'll do, typically, again, they could, share the wealth amongst other various weeks, or they could pay whatever Group D paid. But I'm showing 20 cents is the number, right? And obviously, I think I have a multiplier in there. Let's go back over here. Yeah, too much scrolling, right? So yeah, I have a 110% multiplier to kind of keep it in line. But they did, they paid 17 cents from Group C. So I think Group D is going to be a little bigger payment, being 21 cents, which is an 82% yield. Up next is YMAG. Their last two payments, 49 cents and 76 cents. What did my number over here show? It showed 13 cents. So what am I going to give them? I don't know. Well, I gave them a multiplier of 130%. That'll put them at 17 cents. Their last three, 25 cents, 29, and 20. I mean, should I give them in the 20? No way, man. I'm not doing it. I'm giving them 17 cents, all right? YMAG is getting 17 cents from me. I know their price is higher than YMAX, so maybe they should be paying more, right? They should, right? But they don't have Misty, right? They don't have Simsi. So what makes them special to pay more? I don't know. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it 17 cents. Up next is your boy LFGY or LIFG. All right. So what do? Again, same thing. I just take the average implied volatility. Simple as that. So if we scroll here, we can see what are their holdings. LFGY holds BitDeer, Clean Spark, Galaxy Digital, GameStop, Hood, MSTR, freaking Oprah, man. Oprah's still there. I know it says Opera. All right. Riot, Tesla, Block. Oh, I got to delete this. There. All right. So you take all those suckers and you get their average IV, and it comes to 58%. And then obviously you calculate whatever the payment will be based on that, comes to 45 cents. Is that what I gave them? Again, I don't know. Let's see. Yep, no multiplier. All right. Their last three payments were 49 cents, 49 cents, and 46 cents. So I'm going to give them a 45-cent guesstimate, which would be a 58% yield. They did go up in price, though, $1.39. So that's pretty awesome. So again, maybe they'll pay more. Who the hell knows? All right, up next, your boy, GPTY or GIPT. This is like maybe one of the safer fund of funds, right? Why? Well, they own Apple. I don't want to say they're safe to C3. Amazon, Broadcom, right? Companies like that, like, help you sleep at night if you own them. I guess you could say IBM. I mean, they're old school. Meta, Microsoft, right? Palantir's in there, but I don't think people sleep better at night because Palantir's in there. But again, these are the funds that are going to help you make bank. All right. So anyway, what is the average IV up in here? 41%. All right. Payment based on that, 36 cents. Is that what I gave them? Well, let's see. No, I actually dropped it because why? All right. Let's look at the last three payments. GPTY, last three payments, 29 cents, 28 cents, 29 cents. So that kind of is why I gave the the multiplier of 80%, which would decrease the payment down to 28 cents. Does that make sense? Maybe, maybe not. But again, look at that would be a 33% yield. They did go up $1.29. It's tough, man. It's really tough. You know what? We should take the multiplier out, right? Let's take it out. Let's do it. There you go. 36 cents, 41% yield. Take that. Take that. All right. These next three I really suck at, so I'm just going to show them all together as I usually do. All right. SDTY 20 cents, QDTY 24 cents, and RDTY 26 cents. So again, I kind of gave payments in line with the last one. RDTY is the only one I gave a kind of a decent raise to, but do they deserve it? Again, who the hell knows? I think there's other YouTubers that cover these funds, so feel free to go check them out. But again, whatever, man, whatever. These are really good funds, though. They are obviously because they track the index, which is the ultimate fund to fund, right? The index, but are they as popular as some of the others? No. But again, they are pretty damn impressive. What are they yielding? My guesstimate yield, 24% on SDTY. Again, that's the S&P fund. QDTY, which is the NASDAQ fund, I'm showing they'll yield 29%. And then RDTY would yield 30%. That's based on the Russell. All right, up next is Volti, the true degen play of degens. All right. Now, what do they hold? Well, they hold a mishmash of mishmash. Just look at this IV, 141%. Man, oh man. I wish MSTR had that IV right now. Applied Digital Corp, they got, look at this, Core Weave, 129% yield. They got some lower yield, some lower IVs in there. GameStop, what's with GameStop? 76%. I remember their IV was always higher. Hims and Hers is always a high yield. I still don't even know what that, what Hims and Her is. I probably should, right? Hims and Her Health. I don't know, whatever. All right, so let me keep going. Yeah, man, I see steel. Remember the what was it? The dry series. Yeah, that's what I would normally do there. I hope I could bring that back someday. That was a fun series. I love watching it. It's the hair regrow pill company. No, really? All right. Well, hopefully I don't have to use them. All right, let's keep going. Direction Labu. All right, true degen play, 84% IV. Mara. Again, they got a lot of high IVs, and that's the idea, right? That's the idea of Volti, ultra high yield, right? Ultra, Well, there's a lot of low ones here, man. Get these low ones out of here, right? Who the hell is you? Get out of here. Get out of my ulti. All right, what's their average IV? 73%, man. That's weak sauce, yeah, kind of. But it gives them what they usually pay. It calculates to be a 9-cent payment. Is that what I gave them? Maybe. Yeah, well, 0.0877. I guess that will round to 9 cents for your brokerage. I don't know. But I'm showing about 8 cents, 8 to 9 cents for Ulti, which, that's no shocker. Their last 3 payments were 9 cents. So eventually, yeah, they'll pay 8 cents and then maybe 7, or maybe they'll pay 9 again. But you get the idea. They're pretty much in the range. All right, chippity doo-dah, chippity day. What are they holding? Chip companies. Okay. Blammo, right? Boring. Broadcom, Intel, Microchip, Micron, NVIDIA, Qualcomm. Yeah, boring, right? Anyway, what are these nerdy chip companies? What do they? What's their average IV? That's what we want to know. 40%. So if you take that and you create a payment out of that sucker, you get 41 cents. Does that sound right? Well, let's see. Is that what I gave them? No. I gave them 36 cents. Why? Well, look at I didn't add chips last payment. What was Chippity Doodah's last payment? See? Made a mistake there. So if you want to find chip, you would go to portfolio ETFs, and then you select Chippity Doodah, and you could see the last 39, 38, 34. Let's see which one I'm missing. I got 39, 38. Yeah, I'm missing the 34. Okay, see, I screwed up. 0.3455. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it just means now their last 3 payments show 39, 38, and 34. I have this to be a 36 payment. I'm sorry, 36-cent payment, which would be a slight increase from the last one, kind of in line with what we've been expecting. But to be honest, yeah, of course they could pay more. So who knows, man? Who knows? So that's the guesstimates on the weeklies, and yeah. That's the end. I'm going to go through some comments, and then I'm going to talk about Group D, which obviously declared last week. Redfish says he's up over 20% with YieldMax, and he has not bought in a while. Good job, Redfish. Good morning, Vladimir. Steel. Oh, if I retire, hell yeah. I'll have a crap load of series if I retire. I'll definitely have like a normal, like a live every single day kind of thing going. So Wolf says he already has QDTE, RDTE, and when I was starting XDTE, YieldMax started STTY, so I started position. All right, so he's got a little everywhere, right? Aloha Walkaza. Andrew says we are still making money month after month. Are you making bank, brah? That's the question. Are you making bank? All right, so let's go look at Group D. How you doing, Group D? So what happened last week? What was the unexpected here? Well, Misty paid $1.47. We thought they were going to pay $1.23, so they paid more, which is perfectly fine with us, right? I'm not too surprised. Sometimes they pay a little more. Sometimes they can pay less. Right now, that current yield shows to be about 92%. Another one was SMCY. I thought they'd pay more. I had $1.98. They paid $1.57. But yeah, man, whatever. Because they did really, really well. Also, Winter, man. Winter paid what? $3? Are you kidding me? 100. So Winter, Simsy, and Misty all. Oh no, Misty's not even 100% yield right now. XYZY is 100% yield. So that was another one. Very, very surprising there. That one I mean, my worst guesses were XYZY and YQQQ. But again, the inverse funds, I don't even care. I can get those wrong all day and not give a crap. All right. So let's go look at house money for Group D, right? Since they obviously paid up. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Look how close we're getting to 200%. So for those of you new to the channel, let me explain house money real quick, right? House money, right? Where does that come from? Well, think about the casino, right? When you bring $100, well, fine, let's say $1,000, right? You make 1,000 back, okay? So you have $2,000 in your pocket. You put 1,000 away, right? And now you're playing with what? House money. You're playing with the house's money. So if you look at Misty, they launched at $20.38. All right. They have paid out a total of $38.36 per share from inception. So they've been at house money, and they got to house money when they paid $20.38, which is come and gone. And they're about to be double house money because they have paid back 188% of their original launch price. Look at the launch price, $20.38. All right. What is the current price of the fund? $20.59. So they are still above what their current price, what their launch price was. And they have paid out $38.36. And yes, of course, MSTR has done fantastic during that time. But MSTR, to be honest, lately, I just got a weird cramp in my leg from freaking run. MSTR has been kind of wishy-washy lately, a little flat here and there. So in the short term, I think Misty's been beating it, to be honest. But obviously, yeah, when MSTR goes like really high 1 week, we kind of get cappity-doo-dah on the fund. But overall, I mean, you really just can't complain about this fund. This fund has done wonders. Yeah, something's wrong here. No way. What the hell did I do? I screwed up something here. How does this show? Launch price $4.45. I don't know what happened here. Yeah, that is not their launch price. AIYY. I don't know what happened, honestly. What is their launch date? Go to the website, right? See, sometimes these spreadsheets, you can't trust anyone, right? They freaking screw you. All right, so let's check out the launch date of XYZY, whatever the hell they called. 10/10/23. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong fund. Oh my God. Sorry, AIYY. Where the hell is it? There it is. 11/27/23. Yeah. Open B42 +1. Yeah, I don't know why that's screwed up like that, but if I remember, I'll look at it later. But ignore that. Because they did not. They launched around 20, so they paid about probably 50% of their house money. XYZY, they paid 86%, so they're almost at 100. AMZ's almost at 100. They're at 72, and no other really notables there. But YMax at 57%. That's pretty good. YMAG at 51%. So that's pretty good stuff there. All right. So what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. As far as this is concerned, I got a couple of things I want to talk about, but I'm going to go through some comments. We're at 244, almost at that 250 goal, right? All right, catching up on some comments here. LA Appliance, yes, you are late. He's going to have to rewatch this video about 50 times for the penalty for being late. Kevin is not making bank yet. All right, Kevin, we're going to have to work on that. All right. Brother is at 40% house money on Misty. Red Fish, all right, he's watching LA. LA, the appliance guy, fixes everything. All right. Why you never cover YBIT? If MSTR is correlated to BTC and Misty mimics them. What do you mean cover? Like on a daily video? Because they're, I do the big ones. I do the ones that people want to see, and we are all booked up. So if people want to see YBIT, I'd have to eliminate one of these five, right? TSLY, NVIDIA, Coney, SimC, or Platy. So if you want YBIT, who am I cutting? That's the question. Listening to Rod drink water sounds like nails on a chalkboard. Is that better? There you go. All right. You think TSLY? Yeah, man. Well, TSLY, actually, yeah, they will have a good week because, I mean, to be honest, that was definitely an overreaction, and they're like 6 to 21% out of the money for this week. So they are set up to capture some upside. All right, let's keep going here. And by the way, I'm going to drink more water for whoever said that. There you go. Yeah, and Misty Nav eroded 20%. Then who cares? Let's see. Oh yeah, we got two. Well, it shows 254 now, but sweet. Yeah, I did drop AMZ. Nobody cares about AMZ. You don't need to care about AMZ, honestly. It just works. I cover the high implied volatility ones, and then to be honest, NVIDIA could be dropped too, but they're the second GOAT, it's hard to drop them. I want like the highest implied volatility funds typically because you never know what to expect. Good for me. All right. What's my spreadsheet source? Google Sheets? Is that what you're asking? All right. What else we got here? Okay. So we're caught up on the comments. So I wanted to show you guys something. I went to the YieldMax website and I clicked like the tax information and it brought me to this page, tax documents, which honestly I never even look at. But I clicked tax insert 2024 and then this came up, right? And I never really looked at it. I guess this is for last year. I just wanted to check out Misty, and they showed to be what? 0.31% return of capital, right? Let's see, income from enclosed, blah, 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 blah. Please note. Percent of ordinary income attributed to direct, U.S. government obligation. Yeah, I'm not sure that's the file we want. Let's see. Funds, YieldMax 2024. If we click that, let's see what comes up there. Oh, damn. This looks like a serious document here. Oh, where's the this is way too much info. Maybe we'll just go to the individual file. Go down to Misty. Misty final. These are the individual 19A1 notices. Yeah, it doesn't help. Probably just better off. Where's the annual statement? No, I'm not clicking that. All right, forget it. Forget it. I thought this little insert thing was useful, but maybe not. All right. Anyway, something else I did want to show you guys. All right. Actually, let me read the comments real quick. Yes, this is the part I wanted to see. My tax bill had my sides hurting. Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about for this year, you have to look at the individual 19A1 notices, right? So, but again, these are estimates, right? So if you look, a lot of these have a 19A1 notice, more than others. Like Babo only has 2, right? So that means they're actually doing pretty decent, I would say, assuming they're filing them on time. And then here's like they do group. I don't know why do they have group D? Like what is that? All right, so let's see. So this is for group D, the last payment, I guess. If you go down to where's Misty? Estimated return of capital 98% for Misty. So that makes sense though, because they're for the year, for the fiscal year, I'm not showing that. I'm showing it they're at an overall loss position. So to be honest, I think this should be 100% return of capital. But if you look at all the Misties, right, you're probably going to get a lot of return of capital. So that was the last payment, right? Now, if you go to the payment before that, go to Misty, let's see what they did there. 99% return of capital. Yeah. So I think Misty for this year, most of it should be, return of capital. So far, at least. Again, this is all a guesstimate. A guesstimate. So you built your spreadsheets from scratch on Google Sheets? Yes, I did. I was thinking it was no. I mean, the only thing that's automated on any of my sheets is the pull of the holdings, right? So if you go here, for example, like Volti, and you go to this cell here, there's a formula to pull the holdings, and that's everything else. Like on this sheet, I created this from scratch from the beginning. I don't know. A lot of people followed me from the beginning. They know how this was like a work in progress from day one, and I've added and removed things as we went. But yeah, and then again, this is one of the spreadsheets I also don't share, only because there's too much blood, sweat, and tears, and it changes too frequently. But yes, to answer your question, yes. All right, I'm going to check through some other comments. The publishing, yeah. I guess it's kind of better to look at it that way. Kevin has a question, tax question. Of course, we love tax questions, right? What dollar should I start setting money aside for taxes? What percent should I use? 30%. I guess my question for that is, do you still work? Like, do you have a W-2 job? Because to me, and what I do, I just increase my federal and state. I would draw more money from my job to cover for any, these funds or YouTube money, things like that. If not, I don't know, man. You'd have to, I would say, and again, when you say put aside, what are you doing with it? Putting in a savings account that earns nothing? Because that kind of sucks too, right? But it doesn't show up on the brokerage 1099 forms for ROC. Well, again, the breakdown that you get on the 1099 will show you ordinary income, what's classified as that. So bravo on Google Sheets. Thank you, Lions Den. Is this Lion from Kamir's? Yes, I work W-2. Yeah, so if you have access to just update your W-2, I don't know how my job, it's actually pretty easy, but that's what I do. I up my and I do it every year. I increase it every year because my income's going up every year from the dividends and YouTube. So that way I don't is it the right, what do I put? Again, you have to just run the numbers yourself. What do you think you're going to make this year? How much do you think is going to be returned? That's all you can do. How much you think, how much, best guess, right? And then you could divide that by, say, 26 weeks, assuming you get paid every 2 weeks, and you take that out. Obviously, we're already well past half of the year here. So I don't know. It might be too late to do that, but that's just an option. That's what I do. right, so what else we got? Let me catch up. All right. Brother is leaving us. Have a great day, brother. Pistol Pete, he files a Schedule C. He pays quarterly estimated taxes. Yeah, that's also an option. Redfish puts his in a retirement account. All right, so what else was I going to cover? I had, let me close all these stupid tax files. I mean, it's just I hate talking about it because it's just annoying, but it's something, obviously it's a load of suck at the end of the year if you're going to owe all these taxes. So you have to prep for it. But I was just always assume the worst, right? And that way you don't get caught, unexpectedly owing a massive, massive bill. So, obviously you can use the estimated ROC percentages, but that's a lot of work too, or you could just say, all right, maybe 10% or 20% is going to be return of capital. Let me just do that, right? I don't know. All right, so I'm going to go to here and I'll show you how big is YieldMax, right? If we look at the ETF providers, BlackRock is gigantic, right? Vanguard also gigantic. Those two, they pretty much own the world, right? And then you got State Street, which pretty much, they're number 3. There's really the top 2, and then there's the number 3, and then there's everyone else, right? Invesco's 4, Charles Schwab 5, JP Morgan 6. And then, then there's everyone else. And then you scroll down. So where does YieldMax fall into this category as again, this is top ETF providers, right? So YieldMax, where the heck are they? Number 30, all right? They're showing to be 13 billion. They are ahead of ARK. They are ahead of BNY Mellon, Granite shares. They're ahead of Crane shares. They're ahead of John Hancock. They're ahead of Neos. They're ahead of Simplify. They're ahead of a lot of people, but they are number 30. So they have, there's a lot of growth left here. So, and it's crazy. And I know some of you probably don't give a crap about this, but it's just like interesting information because, their fund, Misty, is 4 billion, right? 4.5 billion. If we go to BlackRock, let's look how big, like IVV fund, 585 billion, to give you an idea. That's their biggest fund. That's insane. I mean, crazy, man. What's their let's look at their 4.5 bill DSI. What I mean, looks like a shitty fund, but crazy, man. I don't know. I just think that's always cool information to see, comparably how big some of these companies are. And to give you an idea how big Misty is, right? If we go to YieldMax and we click Misty's 4.5 billion, right? As we said. So if we scroll down, how big is that? Well, it's bigger than some of these names. Morgan Stanley, their ETFs total 4.5 billion. So Misty is big, is as big as all of Morgan Stanley's ETF. Granted, they don't offer a lot of products, so maybe that's not their, bread and butter, but still, it's just pretty funny to see. All right, who else? Who else is that around that price? Bitwise, wow. So Misty is bigger than all of the ETFs on Bitwise. Bitwise is the company that, they just came out with IMST, which is soon to be probably their most popular fund. Bitwise has a lot of crypto funds. They're all crypto, actually. Look at this. Wow. So again, just information, pointless maybe information, but I think it's kind of cool to know that. All right, I'm going to catch up on the comments. If you guys want me to cover anything else before we shut down here, let me know. All right, so A1 does 50% into a separate account for taxes, just in case. Yeah, what account though, A1? Like what type of account? That makes so much sense. Adjusted based on projected earnings. I don't know who he's talking to. Brand Bro. I think LA meant Bank Bro. Yeah, almost as big as Round Hill. Yeah. I mean, yeah, where is Round Hill? Oh, yeah. It's going to be bigger than Round Hill. That's crazy, man. Yeah. Wow, Mags. Isn't Mags a newer fund? Mags is 2.2 billion. That's their biggest fund. Wow, they're not as big as you may think. Like that just shows you how freaking big Misty is. That's nuts. All right, we got a question here from Bedbum. I want to be a Bedbum today. Can you explain how NAV affects Misty? Well, I'm not sure what you mean by the question, but I'll start with what is NAV? Okay, there you go. What is NAV? Net asset value, right? What the hell? See, we can't talk about NAV. Google Sheets doesn't like it. There you go. All right, let me zoom in. Oh my God. All right, I'm gonna have to use another fund. See, sometimes things don't behave. Even Tesla's too much. Who has the smallest amount of holdings? All right, let's try SMCY. All right. So if you look at SMCY, this is a download of their holdings, and every holding has a market value. If you highlight all of their holdings market value, it totals to be $198 million. All right. So I got that's wait, what the hell? H3. Hold on here. Did I miss a freaking number? 186. There you go. Sorry. $186 million, which is what that totals to be here. So, you know, you can call this the NAV. You can call it's easier to say this is the assets under management, right? But this is what they call the NAV, which is basically the stock price, right? So what determines the NAV is the total market value divided by the outstanding shares, which is in this case was 10,075,000, and that comes to be 1855. So can you explain how NAV affects Misty? I mean, this is the NAV. So the NAV moves up and down depending on how Misty does. I know this is SMCY, but Misty freaking Holdings is not working. So obviously if SMCI in this example goes up in value, this long call, this buy call is going to be more valuable and move up in market value, which would increase in turn the NAV. If SMCI went down, this would be less valuable, right? And in turn, the same thing with the put, right? The put's a negative value. This is how much it costs to close the put. So if SMCI went up, you know, this negative number gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's no longer a gold digger at some point, right? But yeah, that's kind of how it moves. These treasuries pretty much, you know, they're just chilling. You know, they don't move much. They earn some interest. But obviously the calls, the synthetic combo, as they call it, and then the weekly calls and the credit calls, the buy calls on the weeklies as well, that all moves as the underlying moves, which change the total market value of everything, which changes and adjusts the NAV on a daily basis or every minute, right? Every single freaking minute. Obviously that's why it moves up and down. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, Bedbum, but that's all I got for now. Let's keep going. Where the heck am I? Gotta get, you know, they gotta make scrolling better in this. Title making bank. Yeah, man, they are making bank. They better share some bank, right? You leaving LA? Have a good weekend if you are. What website is that with the ETFs? That is stockanalysis.com. They have a lot on this website. I mean, this is just one of the things I view on there, but yeah, they're a really cool website. All right. A1. Oh, you answered my question. Savings account. Yeah, it's such a waste though, right? The cash is sitting there. I mean, you're almost better off putting it in like Strike or something, right? I don't know what the yield. What is the yield? 7%. What do you get at the bank? Like 2, if that. I don't know. LA going back and watching, maybe a high yield savings account, but like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like my money is useless sitting in a bank. Did he? Yes, I did mention YieldMax. It's earlier. Yeah. Oh, you notice that $1 million, right? What movie? Go. All right. So what else we got? I'm just trying to filter through the conversations. Almost done here. Don't worry, guys. Outside of you, is this for me? I don't even know. Summer boy. Outside of YieldMax, do you recommend any other weekly, monthly paying dividend stocks like YBTC? YBTC, I love that fund, man. I own a lot of the weeklies. But yeah, I like the Roundhill funds. I still like the Defiance funds. You know, again, they all offer something different. And I like YBTC. What else? I do own a little MST now, but I own most of the weeklies that are, you know, I don't own the new Roundhill individual weeklies though. I own mostly the index weeklies, if that makes sense. All right, let's catching up with the chat here. Did I go over? I did not go over the which group do you want to see recovery rate? The one that had a full month so far? So like group A, obviously they're coming up. They pretty much had a full month. So you can see, you know, how much did they recover based on the latest payment, right? So if the latest payment of TSLY was 76 cents, how much did they recover of that? Well, since they went down, none. In fact, they're negative. In the example of OARK, they recovered 96%. GUI has recovered 69%. Zomo, they're in the negative. YBIT recovered 11%. SNOY recovered 183%. So they're doing awesome. Awesome. SNOY, 100. Is that SNOY? No, sorry. No, YBIT was 11%. SNOY is 183%. TSMY, 110%. Crash, 139%. Damn. FEAT's in the negative, and FIVY, how can they be so different? That is whack, man. That is whack. Well, FIVY, 87% recovery, man. Yeah. Again, they had this is like almost a full 4 weeks, right? So this makes sense to do the comparison. The others, it's kind of tough, but I'll just go over notables who recovered their whole, the whole last payment, assuming our formulas are correct. So out of group B, FIVY has recovered all of their distribution. Murney has, and GDXY has. All right, keep going. We go to group C. Make sure the formula is updated. It is not. It is pulling a T. We have to pull a U. Okay, let me update that. Update on the go, right? On the go. Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol. All right. Here we go. Make sure that, so the last X date was 5/1. No, so here, see, this wasn't updated here. So I have to update. When did group C last have an X dividend date, right? And the easiest way, honestly, let's just do this. Use group B's, do +7. There you go. Easy enough, right? So now, if we go here, anyone recover? ABNY, full recovery. 144% recovery. Good job. And then group D kind of just paid, so it's kind of useless. But yeah, the formula is probably not updated. Yep. So yeah, you got to update this formula too to a U. We're at 269 live. All right, we're over an hour too. I'm having too much fun on the lives. Yeah, no one had a full recovery on Group D, but again, they just declared. So what do you expect? All right, hopefully that helped you out. Sour Kiss, Sour Exis, whatever. All right. You missed my comparison by what do you mean, the dry series? I assume that's what you're talking about. All right, trying to scroll. Red fish. It's hard to scroll in this stupid freaking. Health and Wealth is here. Good morning. Yes, we are live. Are you going live today? Am I caught up? And I skip a whole bunch of comments. Yeah, I think I'm caught up. All right, guys. What else you got? You got anything for me? Sour Kiss. Thank you. All right, you're welcome. Yeah, the dry series. Yeah, I stopped doing that. That one was actually, it was a lot of work, and I had to do all of the work on the weekend, which is really, really hard. Well, still would be during baseball season. So I'm waiting till baseball season ends, and again, I have to reconsider if I can even handle that, because again, it's just a lot of plug and play, and it's one of my favorite videos to do because I love seeing how the funds compare, but it's not completely gone. We'll just say that. All right. You're not going live today? Grass cutting, cleaning the grass. Yeah, man. I know. Life is busy. But it's just so easy sometimes. You just click live, assuming you have something to talk about. But going live is much easier than pre-recording and then loading it. I don't know who you're asking, Richard Scott. But I pay more taxes out of my W-2. All right, let's. John Wilk, I love the dry series, but Sunday morning estimates are my favorite. And then the other thing is like the dry series doesn't even fit in the schedule because where do you put it? Right? It used to be a Saturday launch, but I already had a Saturday video. I already had 2 Saturday videos, so it was the third one, which seems like overkill to be honest. So, I'm 1 to 2 videos a day. That's more than enough, right? 1 video is enough. I know most YouTubers, they don't do 1 video per day. So I think 1 video a day is enough. It's just a matter of I don't know. We'll figure it out in the future, though. Things will get a little better, especially if I can ever stop working, right? All right, so you claim 0. Yeah, I've always claimed 0. All right. I think that's all I'm going to cover. All right. What else? I think that's it, man. So let's see. Can I see how many likes we have? We go here and I hit refresh. See how many likes we have. 156. Not bad, right? What are we going for? What do we say? 1,000 likes, and we're going for 10,000 views by next week, right? If we can remember that. But yeah, so that'll be the goal for next week. So that's the coverage on the guesstimates. Unless you guys want me to read, I'm not going to reread it. That's kind of overkill. The kids are awake now. You can probably start to hear them. But the chaos is starting to begin, as you may hear. Thanks for joining, Fish. Have a good day, Health and Wealth. Have a good day, Sour Kiss. Again, these live streams, every Sunday I'll do a live. Saturday is debatable, and then during the week, typically not unless I really, really have to, and I'm home. Again, I had a technical difficulty. If I was going to work that day, the video would not have happened. So luckily I was, working from home. So I had the little extra time, I save an hour, not commuting. So you're welcome, Mohammed. Thanks for being here. And thank you all 272 of you. Again, we got the over, all right? Our goal was 250. We got the over on that. So that's good. But yeah, so that's all I really got for today. So as always, this is not financial advice. Clearly, I am not a financial advisor. I can't say I'm a schmuck in a garage because I'm actually in my office. So I'm just some random dude recording in an office, right? Yip yapping about this, that, and the other thing. So as always, do your own research. You know, this video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, then well, I'll try again tomorrow. Actually, are you late again, Mrs. Ann here? You're supposed to be on time today, but we won't yell at you today. But anyway, guys, for real, thank you for watching. And if you enjoy this content, I mentioned it already, please hit the like button. It goes a long way. If you have questions or concerns, let me know in the comments. If you have a video question, type video question and then your question, and then I will talk about it on the next video. I did have a video question for Misty. I'll do that on the Monday recap. So yeah, through some comments. Scott, enjoy your Sunday. Random dude. Yeah, random as hell. Weird. Some say I'm annoying, but yeah, thanks for no, not financial advice. Have a great one, Pistol Pete, and entertain. Steel is always entertaining. I appreciate you, Steel. You've been around for a long time. But yeah, so we're getting to the end. So I think all of you know what that means. It's keyword time. For those of you that are live, feel free to start typing in your keyword. So if you're new to the channel, if you made it this far in the video and you would like to prove it to myself and others that are watching this video, that are reading the comments, you have to type down below in the comments the keyword. And that way we know that you suffered through this long ass video, which had random squeaky chair noises, right? Kids stomping up and down on the top floor, me sipping water, or, you know, just random this, that, and the other thing. So what is the key word? That is the question, right? What is the question? Dry. Hey, there it is. Sour Kiss says dry. What does that mean? Well, I used to have a series called the Dry Series, and I stopped it due to time, right? There is no time, unfortunately. So if you go to my playlist, right, under on my YouTube channel, you can see there's a Dry Series somewhere here. What the hell is it? Yeah, Defiance versus Roundhill versus YieldMax. I think there's 23 videos in there. I used to do it every week. I stopped it. It was a great series. If you don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to go check it out via the playlist. But yeah, that'll be the keyword today. So that being said, if you made it this far in the video and you want to prove it, you got to type the keyword, and keyword is dry. All right. Dry, 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 dry. All right, everyone's saying it here too. So you got to type it down in the comments below as well, not just the live feed. You got to type it in the actual comments, all right? Because it's not the same thing, all right? I appreciate you typing in. Look at that, look at that, look at that. All right, keep going here. Keep going. Keep going. I'll display it. All right, you can't spell dry, Baron. Come on, do better. Come on, type dry. Type dry. There we go, Scott. Come on, who's next? Go, go, go. Baron, you fixed yourself. I'll give you a break. All right. Randy, dry. All right. Who's next? Jaband, good job. John Wilk. You're supposed to type dry, John. All right. Rip and Silk, dry. There you go. Randy ruined it. He said, okay. All right. Come on, guys. Are we done? Come on. And there you go. Good job, dry. Comments help the algo. Yeah, D to the R. Yeah, that's right, JD. Oh, wait, I can't find. There we go. D to the R to the Y. You know how it is. You learn so much from me. I learned so much from you. All right. All you guys. Thank you. Wet. Oh boy. Oh man. Dry. KB. Necrotic dry. John Wilk. Ha. Marai says dry. Randis says dry. Steel dry. Vito dry. Who else we got? That's it. We're done. Not dry in Hagerstown, Maryland. Yeah. Won't be dry here later. I'm definitely having some wine tonight. But I don't know, man. I guess we're done. We're done with the dry comments. But again, that was fun while it lasted. Again, thank you guys for watching. It's always a fun video on the Sunday. I appreciate it. I'm always welcome for feedback too. You know, what you want me, since I'm always doing lives on Sundays, is there something you want me to cover, like current events? Does anyone give a crap about that? I might, you know, feedback on it. Or I don't know. You guys let me know. Or should I try to get someone to come on, right? One of you guys, or I don't know. We could do anything. We can do whatever the hell we want, right? It's our channel. Anyway, I'm done. I'm out of here. Again, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend or whenever you're watching this. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.